everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Baseball Talk, or Webisode of Baseball Talk. It is Christmas break, and this is Philip Ebner and Christian Hartnett alongside me for BT during the off season. So, what are we talking about today?
All right. Well, as most of you know, last week came out, or the Mitchell report came out, and it's been the talk of the baseball world for the past week, every single day, 24/7. And we are here to talk about that. Some of the main players mentioned, some of the players on the Angels mentioned, and just what we think this will do to the baseball world. So I guess starting with that, some of the main players that have actually come out and talked about it have been Pettit, Andy Pettit of the New York Yankees, and another New York Yankee pitcher, Roger Clemens, or at least a pitcher who's not on the Yankees right now. But those two players came out and issued statements saying that they did not, Andy Pettit admitted to taking HGH, human growth hormone, but he did not. He said he used it for 2 days just for injury recovery. Roger Clemens, on the other hand, totally denied it, even though in the report it looks like it's some pretty valid information. What do you make of, let's start with Roger Clemens, what do you make of him totally just flat out denying this?
He played the wrong card with just flat out denying it at the very beginning, too. He was like one of the first players to talk about it after it came out, and he just flat out denied anything. And it looks like that we can keep denying all these facts and figures that people are coming up with. And George Mitchell, right?
Yes.
George Mitchell,
Senator
he did a lot of work on this thing, and he got evidence. This isn't just like some theory like, oh, well, like 5 years ago we thought Barry Bonds was doing it, and we didn't really know. This is like fact that he got confirmation from trainers, from checks written that for buying steroids or whatever. I haven't read the whole thing yet, but all this evidence is coming out against Roger Clemens, and his attorney has just said yesterday that any lawyer that fights against Clemens is going to have to come up with proof that he didn't, or that he did do steroids, and I don't see how the Mitchell report isn't proof that he did do steroids. So it's kind of interesting, and definitely it's hurting his Hall of Fame bid. I don't know if the Writers Association is going to vote for him anymore. And his whole career just seems tarnished by it.
I did not use steroids, human growth hormone, and I've never done so. I did not provide Brian McNamee with any drugs to inject into my body.
I mean, he definitely played the wrong card in denying it, and it totally, like, I'm not buying into it. It just seems like he is trying to protect his records, just his name, and basically his chance of getting the Hall of Fame and being known as one of the greatest pitchers ever. It seems like he is just like, oh crap, I've been caught. I need to make sure it is not proven, like, for sure, because I just need to deny it because I cannot get known for this. But he's doing something completely different than most people. Most people have not been just completely denying it. They've been saying they've used human growth hormone just for injury recovery for 2 days. I use steroids just for a few days, and that's it. Yeah. Do you believe that? That's what most players are doing, and I want to know what you think about that.
Well, my thoughts are that everybody's going to start saying that because, like Gary Bennett, Andy Pettit, both these guys, they say they use HGH for 1 or 2 days just to help them get out of injury. And fine, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but if all these players on the list, Chad Allen, Mark Bell, Gary Bennett, Larry Bigby, Kevin Brown, Mike Carrion, like all these guys, if they all start saying that, it's going to be interesting to see what, George Mitchell's response is going to be, because I'm not sure if George Mitchell proved that it was only, I know for Gary Bennett, he did say it was only like once or twice, but who knows with all these guys. And then like Eric Gagne, he was one of the biggest HGH guys on the list. And then Paul LaDuca, who they say was the guy to go to get your drugs. So I don't know. Like at first I was saying, oh, Gary Bennett did it for 2 days. That's okay. But then all these other guys started coming out and saying the exact same thing. So it's hard to tell what the truth is in this whole thing.
Yeah, it seems like the perfect way out. It's like these players saying, I'm pretty sure all of them have read the statements made against them in the report and all that, and they're like, okay, you know what, this is valid. They definitely caught me, because there is photocopies of checks written by players to the guy's name Red Dot. I can't even think of his name. I can't even pronounce it. But a guy who shipped players steroids. All these checks written to the order of this guy. It's just total like proof. It's obvious. And these players saying, okay, if I got caught, I'm just gonna say I used it for a couple days. They don't know how long I used it, and that's true. The report doesn't show. It doesn't have accounts of like how they used it, when they used it, if they even did use it. It just shows that they bought steroids, were affiliated with a player that used it. And I guess the way of saying I just used it for 2 days just for injury recovery, it's a perfect way out.
Yeah, but one thing that's funny is just that some of these names that appear on the list is just like, they were doing something. Like Movon, Miguel Tejada's on it. Yeah. Then like guys like Troy Gloss on it. Jose Canseco is obvious on it. Oh, yeah. Jay Gibbons. Remember how buff Jay Gibbons was? And the Orioles were one of the top teams with the most players on their team. Tons. But also the Angels and the Dodgers were too, which is pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. John Rocker, I mean, he had so much controversy with his whole baseball career, but add this to the list. Yeah. So it's just kind of interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. Like, is baseball going to be punishing players for this or not? It's going to be interesting what Bud Selig does. I mean, Bud Selig, the first day it came out, he said he hadn't even read it yet, so he doesn't seem to be working on it too hard. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to go with it. Do you think this is good for baseball or bad?
I think this should be. I don't think it's going to completely cut out everything, but I'm pretty sure with this it's gonna, I guess, cut down steroid use in baseball. At least it should. Players will know that they're being watched. Anything they send in the mail will be like, if you're sending checks to a guy to get steroids, you're gonna get it photocopied and it's gonna be in some report by a senator. I mean, it's like people are gonna definitely be more aware of this. Yeah. And I think baseball still needs a stronger substance abuse, I guess, punishment policy. Yeah. But this is definitely a big step. And it will help weed out some players.
What about Roger Clemens? Do we put an asterisk on him? Because we could just start laying down the asterisks on all these players, because there's some great players on this list with lots of home runs and lots of good records.
It's going to be hard to tell. I don't even know. I don't even know what to think of it. But for sure, one thing, even if there is no asterisk, come voting time for Hall of Fame, there is definitely going to be some people that we're going to vote for him that are not going to vote for guys like Roger Clemens. Yeah. It's a toss-up. That's an extremely hard topic.
I guess we'll just look for the future and we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting what happens with this season, especially right after it comes out. Who knows? Maybe baseball will change. Less home runs. Well, less home runs are already being hit, but maybe they'll just keep dropping. I mean, I remember asking ourselves, why didn't players hit 50 or 60 home runs all the time back in the 40s and 50s? Mm-hmm. Well, no duh, because there weren't steroids and human growth hormones that made you 7 feet tall and have a size 18 foot.
Maybe some guys like Babe Ruth could hit home runs like that, but 50 or even 60 home runs, even 40 home runs, hit by the amount of guys that hit it this year or nowadays, it's obvious that steroid is a part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, that is our spiel on the Mitchell Report. Hopefully we won't have to talk about too much steroid stuff, but we'll be back for another episode, and so will Anthony. See you guys.